Hello, welcome to Robert's Review Channel. So today I wanted to talk about something that I bought a little more than a year ago, and this is a second type of unit. This is a Sous Vide cooker. So I don't know if you know what Sous Vide is, but if you're here you're probably doing some research, and basically it's cooking with hot water. And it's a French term, and I think it means immersion or something like that. I don't have a clue. But anyway, this one here that I bought is the Avalon Bay, and you know, always being on the budget, I'm looking for one that is going to function well, but that I can afford. This is, like I said, the second unit. The first unit that I bought was actually called a Dork Food Controller. And the unique thing about that unit is really it's a temperature controlled on-off switch that goes into another device, either a heating element or a old-fashioned crock pot. And when I say that, one that doesn't have digital settings, it has to be manual, like on, off, low, high, that kind of thing. So anyway, we're gonna cut to my kitchen for a minute here, and I'm gonna get this set up. So I will go and put this in to the pan and add some warm water, and then we'll turn this on and you can see it operate. Alright, so here we are in the kitchen, and I'm just gonna try to go through this and try to get a shot of it at the same time. So this is the device here, and then this is the holder that goes on the side of whatever you're using. I like to use my stainless steel pan here. It fits everything really well and has a good capacity, so it's got just the right amount of water to fit what I'm cooking. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to insert this in here. On this there is a line, which is the maximum line and the minimum line there, and you just put it down and fill it up with the water so it's above the minimum line, and then it'll cover what you need. I try not to put a lot more water than I need because it's just more for the unit to heat up. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and plug the unit in, and just in my case here I try to always keep the cord away from the stove, so if I'm cooking something else I don't have to worry about it. So then I take my finger, and you see the flashing white light here on the play button, and I just hold it down for a second and it comes right on. The one thing that I would say about this unit is that I don't really care for the buttons that much, that you kind of really have to know what you're doing. You know, you have to press them and with a little bit of authority and just hold them and be patient. So the next thing you'll want to do is you'll want to set the temperature. So you hold it here. When you first plug it on, it's set for 133. But depending on what you're cooking, like if I'm cooking a steak, I'm going to go down to 128, and then I'm going to just set it there. So now it's running. So let's try that again. So here, 128, and run. And so here we go. I put hot water in here, and my water from my sink is really warm, so it doesn't take long to heat up. So let's go ahead and move on while we're waiting for the machine to warm up. These are just your standard bag clips, like your potato chip clips that you buy, you know, anywhere at the store, or I'll include a link just so that way you can see some there. And then I took a regular 1-gallon plastic bag, and I just threw a magic eraser in here just so that way we would have something and to represent food. Now that could be a small steak or a piece of chicken or whatever. Oh, and look, it's already come up to temperature, so now it started timer mode, and it's automatically set to 8 hours, but if you want to change the timer and use that, you can just by holding down that button. I don't use the timer button. I know it starts at 8 hours. I can use it as a reference. I figure that I just want to know how long it's been in there, and I usually start it at a particular time. So if it's a steak, I want to cook it about 2 hours. So with this, I just literally just leave it cracked in the middle with the food inside it, and I put it down in there. Now this is going to be a little bit of a problem because the magic eraser will float, but I will take this and I will clip it just like that with the middle still open. And then, and like I said, the food will sink, but the magic eraser is not going to sink. I will take a couple of river rocks that I've ran through my dishwasher so they're nice and clean, got smooth edges, no sharp edges, and I will set them down on the top of my bag, and I'll just hold this down for a second while all the air comes out. You can use a vacuum sealer, which a lot of people recommend, but just by doing that, you will get most of the air out, and this will sink to the bottom. And the little rocks will just hold the top under the water all the time. If you fill it up really full with meat or whatever you're doing, first of all, try to get your meat flat. And second of all, put something underneath on the bottom, like either a metal spoon or a couple more pieces of rock. So that way your food doesn't sit all the way on the bottom, so it gives the water room to circulate. And do remember that when you're halfway through the cooking process, you should pull the bag out and kind of move your food around a little bit and flip the bag upside down so that way you know, make sure that you're getting even cooking. So I can just leave it like that. I usually will finish sealing it up after I've gotten most of the air out, and then just make sure it's clipped down. And the only reason that I like to have these clips there is so it can't fall in and it can't leak. If you use a vacuum sealer and vacuum seal a bag, you can throw it in there and forget it. They also make containers with metal racks that look similar to like dish trays or barbecue rib racks that will sit in there. And I bet you a barbecue rib rack would probably work just fine if you had a container that would fit it. Some people will use something like this in a cooler also for large cooks. Some of the things that I've heard on the online communities when I was doing my research, people were talking about these units not standing up much above 160 degrees. And I use mine at 160 all the time for cooking chicken thighs, but I won't cook anything else at that temperature. So really, steak, I'm cooking anywhere in between 128 and 135, depending on what the finished temperature is. And once it's done cooking, I'm throwing it on the grill for 1 minute on the highest setting on each side, and boom, you're done. Also, hamburgers work really well on this, and you can do the same thing and set it at about 136, and your hamburgers are cooked, and they're nice and firm, and then you just throw them on and give them a little char on the outside. So basically, I think I've covered everything, and you can see that the timer is moving down, and the stuff is cooking just fine, you know, at 128 degrees. After 2 hours, if it's steak, it's going to be cooked completely through, just at medium rare. And then, like I said, all you got to do is throw it on the grill, or you could use a cast iron pan or anything that you're really comfortable with. A good stainless steel pan will work pretty well too to get a nice little sear on it. Non-stick pans don't work so well. All right, so on this one here, the unit itself runs about $80 on Amazon, and there's some other units which rate really well. For the next level up would be a Nova. And at the next level up above that, which has got a lot of fanfare, is the Jewel, which I know that both of these have Wi-Fi features and stuff like that. I don't want the Wi-Fi. I just want to be able to turn it on and let it run. I don't see any reason why I need to overthink it. You got a temperature, you got a time. I don't think there's anything else that you really need. But also along with things like the container, there's other accessories that you can use. There's little plastic balls that look like miniature ping pong balls, and basically when you pour them on top over the food, it keeps the heat. It acts like an insulation blanket and keeps the heat from coming out. Like I said, for me, I'm using a small container in my kitchen that's relatively warm, and I'm not worried about a little extra electricity. It's not hurting my feelings. But I'll include a link for those balls also, so that way you can see that. And this is just a regular food safe 1 gallon plastic bag. Nothing special or crazy about that. Bought it right off the shelf at my local grocery store, and that's what I use all the time for years. But anyway, if you're interested in looking at buying one of these, click the link on my Amazon links down below on my affiliate link. And thank you very much for tuning in.